guys, welcome back to Second Kick Moto and Auto. As you can see, it's a real hot day out here. So we're going to do something that's long overdue on this bike. I've noticed, I haven't ridden it for a little bit because I've been spoiled with the Harley, but we're going to do the front brakes on this bike. And as you can see, I played around with it a little before I turned the camera on, and I'm going to spin you around and I'm going to let you see. I've soloed it up right now just for a little fun. We've been taking the passenger boards off and everything. It looks pretty cool with the bags off and everything. Even pulled the windshield off of it. So we're going to do the front brakes. Now I'm going to try and cheat with this, and I'm going to support the front end. So I'm going to try and get it so the suspension's relaxed and just slide the axle back and undo these and then slide it out and put the new rotor in. And see how that goes. The first things we're going to do here is I've got these on the bottom, which most stock Hondas obviously won't unless you've ordered them. So we're going to undo these, take them off on each side. I'm going to have to get the axle undone after that. I'm going to undo the brake caliper and slide it back. And then if we can get the axle to slide back, I'll get these bolts off, take the rotor out, and over here we've got new pads. I got front and rear. I'm just going to do the fronts today. New bolts and a new rotor. And I really like this new rotor with the cutouts because I think that big flat filled in rotor takes away from the look of the front of the bike. So hopefully that dresses it up a little more. Okay, so I'm going to find my Allen wrenches. I'm going to get these off, get the brake off, and I'll come back to you. Okay, so I went and got ahead and got the axle caps off. I've loosened the pinch bolts on either side of the forks. And before I even get this in the air, I've gone around and loosened, just cracked them free. And you can see I've got the one bolt out of the brake caliper, and I'm going to take the brackets off and take it off next. Make sure you hold it up in the air somehow. Once I get that done, what I'm going to do is then proceed to lift this up, because it's tedious. You got to put it in gear, and it's not fun to have the bike up in the air with the front off the ground on a lift or anywhere, for that reason. So then what we're going to try and do, and like I said, was slide the axle out enough that I can just take this spacer out, take this rotor off, put the new one in, get it tightened up or snugged up at least, and then get the wheel back on and get it down on the ground, and then we'll work on the brake pads. Okay, one thing that I should add is that at the very back, sorry, all the noise going by, there is another pin that holds the pads in. So I should show you from the right side. So right here, there's a little flathead that's just a cap. It comes off, then there's an Allen key underneath, and that's what actually holds your pads in. So now what I'm going to be doing is pushing the piston back. The best way to do this is just, these brake tools are so cheap. It's a handle with a thread. You put your old brake pad in here. Make sure, of course, that you've checked up there and that's not full to the top, otherwise it's going to break seals or it's going to leak out and get brake fluid all over your paint, which will destroy your paint, and it's hard to paint over again. And we're just going to slowly turn this. But anything that has to come off of here, especially like that, you should do it while it's still attached to the bike, because then you're not trying to stretch and wrestle with your brake line and possibly wreck it as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hold this with two hands. I'm going to push it back. Then I'll be jacking the front of the bike up and getting that brake rotor off. Okay, so plan went wrong a little bit. The axle comes out this way, but I was able just to get it up high enough that there's pressure off the front. I got these out, and here comes our brake rotor. I'm going to clean out a little bit of old dried up red Loctite. I'm going to put new blue Loctite on our new bolts. Going to get them started, look at the torque specs, and get the axle back in. But that's easy. Old rotor gone. Going to go to the scrap pile. Make sure when you put your rotor on, you got the dish side facing out, not that side, because that's where your new hardware has to go set in, and it will go up in like that. So this is all two hands, guys. I'm sorry I can't get more footage. I don't have anybody to record with me today. So I'm gonna get this cleaned up, new stuff in. I'm gonna look up the torque specs, torque that on once the rotor's back, or once the axle's back through and the wheel's down again, and then we'll get to putting our pads back on. I did go ahead and throw the pads back in. Make sure I test fit it with the rotor to make sure the caliper pistons were pushed back far enough first, and get everything sort of half started back in, and I will tighten that all up once again once everything's back on the bike. So remember, don't leave that hanging if you can help it. So okay, I'll be back with you in a minute. Okay guys, so, and gals, to make the girlfriend happy, I got the new rotor on, sort of everything snugged back up. I did lose somewhere a rotor bolt, so I'm gonna have to get another one before I torque that down. The pads are in, the bolts are in, the axle's back in. Just a matter of putting the dress-up caps on the bottom of the axle, and the front brakes are done. Please remember, before you start to back your bike up or do anything with it and go for a ride, to pump your brakes up. Otherwise, you're going to have no brakes for the first three or four pulls, and you're going to roll out into the traffic and get hit by a car. Okay, so video edit, guys. So originally, when I shot this video, I had these brake bolts which came with the kit, which only come in 5, by the way. I wasn't missing one. Honda's take 6. The problem with these are, and I haven't ridden the bike, they're small and it lets the brake rotor move around, and they just didn't fit right, and I wasn't happy with that. So I haven't ridden the bike since, and it's actually months later. I've been using the Harley plus moving in winter, so I haven't really had a chance to get out on the bike as it is. But you could actually put the stock Honda, it's sort of flat with a cone cylinder shaped spacer built right onto the bolt that goes in there. They'll fit back on here, but I want something a little shinier and flashier, so these are actually, I actually bought them for the Ultra because the front brake rotor bolts on the Ultra are kind of rusty, so I wanted to put these nice chrome ones on from Brake Specialties, and they come as a kit, and I'll show you the kit here. It's a 5/16, which is the same as what these are, and I'm just running a 5/16 thread chaser through, because that was part of the problem I had with the other bolts too. I should have done that before I put this on here, but I was in a hurry and that was dumb of me. So I'm using these with a little bit of blue Loctite, and then I'm actually thread chasing, putting the new bolt in with a little bit of Loctite, and then I'm going to go around at the end and retorque them, and that will be the end of this brake job. As for this, because the old brake rotor covered all this and it got corroded behind, I've sanded it, I've done some stuff to it, and I'm trying to lift it. And if I can figure out what to do, I'm going to. If not, for now, I'm just either going to put a little bit of paint in there, or I'm going to get some chrome tape and put in there just to clean that up, because I don't like the look of that. I like the look of the new brake rotor better than the old one, but I don't want to see corrosion on the front of my bike, obviously. So that's the update and the edit to this video. Once again, if this has helped you or you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please, it helps the channel out a lot if you subscribe. And if you want to know when I put up more content, please click on that bell. Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching.